Hello everyone, this is MJ. You are at my channel called Reading This Life. My channel is where we talk fiction, friends, and fun. Today isn't Tuesday, but I'm going to do a top 10. This is my top 10 horror reads of 2022. And remember, before we get started, give me a little love. Just hit the like button for me. Okay, everyone, so what I've decided to do is, this is a top 10. I like to do my top 10s on Tuesdays, but I'm not, because I created a community post today about horror mayhem. I've been thinking about this event for a long time. My absolute 3 favorite events from BookTube last year: Horror Mayhem, June on the Rage, Garb August, hands down, bottom line. I looked forward to these events all winter long, all fall long, and we're finally here. And I was chomping at the bit, and I wanted to know, like, is anybody else interested? Is this happening? Like, what's going on? And I've heard different things, but I think some type of event may be happening. So what I wanted to do is just put together a top 10 list for anyone that may be hesitant to experience a little bit of horror, for someone that may not know what direction to go. So I've listed my top 10 horrific reads from 2022 ranked. So from least horrific, entry level, to most horrific, I hope you can sleep at night. Now, I did not do a best of 2022 this year. What I wanted to do was pretty much regurgitate all of those awesome reads into various top 10 lists for this year. I thought it would be a nice way of rehashing it without doing a whole, here's all the favorites that I read. I can section it out into different types of reads. So today, it's going to be my top 10 horror books. Now, I have ranked these in a specific order, and it is from least horrific to most horrific. So if anyone out there is like, I don't do horror, I can't read horror, I just can't do it, it's not me, there's going to be some choices in here for you if you want to dip your toe into the horror pond. A lot of you know that I started this channel mostly to get back talking about books with people, with actual, people through this venue here, because I didn't have anyone to chat books with, and also to get back into the genres that I loved, which is horror and sci-fi. I got myself hung up on the contemporary fiction, the best of New York Times list, the different prize winners, and I wanted to get back to kind of like rediscovering why I fell in love with reading books in the first place. So this is my top 10 horror reads of 2022, ranked. First, I read this in December. I got this as a gift. You Should Have Left by Daniel Kehlmann. This is a super thin book. This has almost like a thriller, a subtle thriller, a bit horror, and a bit science fiction linked into it. I really, really enjoyed this. This book, for me, is worthy of a second read. One of the blurbs on the back, I remember when I first got this, it says, a book that should carry a health warning, read alone at your own risk. On the Richter scale of 0 to 10, being least horrific, most horrific, I would probably give this like a 4.5, a 5. It's more psychological than anything, but it's fabulous. It is well written. I believe this is translated. This is translated from the German by Ross Benjamin. So this is a translated book written by Daniel Kehlmann. Highly, highly recommend. It's fascinating, interesting. It's got a little horror, a little sci-fi, keeps you gripped, keeps you entertained, and when you put it down, you might just want to pick it back up and read it again. So this is number 10, entry level. Okay, number 10, entry level horror for people that are just tiptoeing back into the genre or that want to try it. Next is a really fun book. This was a group read over at my channel last year, and this is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. Love this copy. I got this at Independent Bookstore last year because it looks like a VHS tape. Isn't that great? It takes place right when I was in high school, so this completely resonated with me. A lot of 80s fashion, a lot of 80s culture. Most of the book, I would say, is friendship, and there is a chunk that has to do with an exorcism. It's pretty spot on, exorcism-wise, from what I remember of my religious background, and I really, really enjoyed it. There was also a movie on Amazon, I think, that they made that was pretty decent too. But of course, the book is always better. But this I would list as number 9 on my disturbing level. There's elements to it. There's some things that will cause you a little bit of pause, but it's not bad. It's not bad. It's more campy. It's more. There's not satire, but it's definitely 80s camp. It gives you that old school movie vibe. Trust me. Mostly everybody that's read this has loved it. If you didn't like this, let me know. But I really did like it. Oh, and all of the titles are named after 80s songs, so there's that too. It says this book packs all the magic of a summer horror flick. Can't go wrong. That's Grady Hendrix, My Best Friend's Exorcism. A great starter book, too, if you've never read Grady Hendrix before. That was number 9. Number 8. This is Hell House by Richard Matheson. The cover I got, this is one of the great finds I got on eBay. Isn't that good? Watson's howling at it. It's good. So this is paranormal investigator, mediumship. There are all of these individuals that come to this house to do an investigation. The book is mainly about the investigation and what happens. There is a possession. There are some things that happen. On the scale of how disturbing or how horrific is it? When this was published, super horrific, I'm sure. Super shocking, I'm sure. Now, You've read way worse, I'm sure. This was published in 1971. So times have changed, and culture has changed, and norms and mores have changed. So this is definitely not as disturbing, not as horrific as when it was first published, but still a lot of fun. It says a terrifying story of demonic possession. It's not that terrifying, but if you read it in the dark alone, maybe. My first Richard Laymon. This is the Cellar. Blurb on the front says, if you've missed Laymon, you've missed a treat. Richard Laymon is a whole section of horror unto himself. The way that he writes, the way that he describes women, the way that there is usually a lot of body parts and a lot of entanglements that are covered in the book. This has to do with a house. There was a massacre that happened. The house goes under like a museum type structure. There's tours, etc., etc. But there's still some things left over hanging out in the basement. We're not too sure what it's all about, but we find out. This book is crazy. The last third of the book, you'll be like, what did I just read? Completely bonkers. Most bonkers ending I think I've ever read in a horror book. I think. And a fave, too. This is one of a 4-book series that Richard Laymon wrote. And it says, Publishers Weekly says, gruesome goings-on and plenty of them. Yeah, visitors flock to see the Beast House with its blood-soaked corridors and creaky doors, armed with instamatics and video camcorders. These poor souls enter the forbidden house, never to return. The deeper the tourists go into the house, the darker their nightmares become. The men are dealt with quickly. The women have to wait longer. It's good. It's good. If you've read Laymon, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've never read Laymon, this probably is a good starter book to get into Laymon. Number 7. Number 6. I love this book. I love this book. This one's for all the ladies. The Book of the Most Precious Substance by Sara Gran. One of my top books of 2022. One of my top books of 2022. It's middle in the pack here because of the horrific factor. But yeah, I would probably put this in like my top 3 of last year. Sara Gran's a fantastic writer. She also has another book called Come Closer, which is a story about possession that almost made the cut for this, but it didn't. But that's an option too if something that you're interested in. This book has to deal with a female writer that had to cut her successful career short because her husband was ill and needed full-time health care. In order to pay the bills, she became a book dealer. There is an offer that is made to find this magical book. I believe it's like, I don't know, $10 million or something like that. She and her business partner go on a jet-setting trip around the world to try and find the true copy of this book. And there are magical goings-on. There is a little bit of occultism. There is a romance. There is like a found family type almost. There is some murder. There is some witchcraft. There's a little bit of everything in this book, but the magic of this book is female focused. So I don't know if males reading the book are actually going to get the full effect, but you might. But for a female reader, it's a little bit more powerful. Just saying. A mysterious book promises unlimited power and unrivaled sexual pleasure. If a book dealer, Lily Albrecht, can find it, it is the sale of a lifetime and maybe a ticket to a new life. Fantastic. So many twists and turns. This book gripped me from page 3 all the way up until the end. Completely underrated. And I absolutely loved it. This is definitely going to be a reread at some point, maybe even for May, just because it's that good. It's that good. Ninth Gate. This is how I described it. If you like the movie The Ninth Gate with Johnny Depp, it's very similar, but better. Okay, then this is a fun one that I read last year. This is Moondance by S.P. Somtow. This is a werewolf book. This is a sprawling werewolf book that has to do with werewolves from Europe landing in the United States and taking residence in the Midwest. All of the chapters have the moon phases listed too, which is kind of nice. This is a fun blurb. A certifiable epic, Moondance is a historical romance, a Dixonian chronicle of the American West, and a brutally violent werewolf epic. One of the finest fantasy novels of the year. This was published back in the late 80s, I think? No, I'm sorry, 1991. And I have the signed copy from the UK edition that I picked up on eBay. Sprawling, entertaining. There is a lot of wolf behavior. There's a lot of marking territory, a ton of marking territory. There are relationships in here. There's a slight love interest. There is a very strange, almost like a past life situation with one of the characters and one of the werewolves. But if you commit to it, it's an intricate story. It will hold your attention. It's almost as if you mixed a little bit of June on the Range. It's almost as if you mixed a little bit of cowboy culture and the werewolves are coming to town with a little Native American flair too. It's good. So this, because of the violence, because of the horrific nature of bad behavior of wolves, this was book number 6. It's Clive Barker's Hellraiser. This is the Hellbound Heart, the book that the movie Hellraiser was fashioned after. And it is a short book. It is a powerful book. Clive Barker's writing is really spot on. The print is huge in this book too. And he creates the Cenobites. The Cenobites are the bad guys. And he describes them. He gives little description, but so much power in the words that create this mental imagery while you're reading the book. There is a lot of murder in this book. There is some entanglements in this book. There's a little bit of a thrill ride towards the end. Violent, though. It is violent and gross. It's grody. So if you know the movie, you may know the book. If you didn't, read the book. But on a horrific level, Clive Barker's book number 4. Book number 3. This is Tender as the Flesh by Agustina Bazterrica. The world has experienced some type of a plague. All of our animals are dead. We cannot eat them. Something's wrong with the crops. We have to turn to farming humans in order to survive. Ooh, yeah, we are farming humans. This book is powerful. This book, if you can get through the first, I'd say 5 chapters, you're kind of desensitized and you're okay to read the rest. But it is, you know, it's out there. It is uncomfortable. It is disturbing. A woman reading this may have a different perspective than a man reading it. I had a different perspective than a lot of other people. I think this was a group read over at my channel. Some other people read it along and they didn't find it as disturbing. And I did 100%. So on the horror level, it may be more disturbing for a female than for a male, but the writing is well done. The story carries you. At some point during the book, you're going to realize, oh my gosh, I'm reading a story about cannibalism. And I forgot that it's about cannibalism. It's that good. She is an excellent writer. She has a book of short stories coming out in the spring or the fall that I'm really interested in getting into. But this is a fantastic book. So if you are getting up on the scale of horror and you want to try something different and you didn't read this yet, it's a good one. All right. This one, man. This one's rough. This one is rough. Zombie by Joyce Carol Oates. This is rough because it doesn't have that horrific, fantastical piece to it. This is real life Creep City. And it makes it all the more horrific and all the more terrifying. So it's about a serial killer and his plans to make an individual that he captures a zombie. And he's made several attempts. The back says, at the heart of Zombie are chastening paradoxes. While showing how futile and barbaric our efforts are to understand or influence those who differ from us, Joyce Carol Oates manages to put us inside the mind of an outcast, a serial killer, and so to disturb us deeply. Depicting the worst in human nature, Oates embodies our saving virtues, empathy, imagination, and wonder. Zombie succeeds at a profound level, simultaneously horrifying the reader and demonstrating that nothing human is alien to us. I did a full review on this book back in the fall, and I will put a card up here if you want to check that out. But this book will scare the crap out of you. It will. If you have children, it will scare the crap out of you. Yeah, because this stuff happens. Whether you believe it or not, it happens. Last book. Most horrific thing I read last year. Oh, man. Whew. The title goes to our Juan Valencia. Yeah, Poking Holes by Juan. Man, the first 3 stories. Whoa. Harsh, disturbing, makes you want to crawl out of your skin. It's that good. The writing is excellent. The storytelling is off the hook. There are some great ones in here. I guess I'm going to say it's my favorite, but is it my favorite? User. Yeah, User was tough. User is a tough story to digest. Super tough. Like, super tough. My God. Yeah. Most horrific book I read last year. Bottom line. Most disturbing book I read last year. Bottom line. Juan, you get the trophy, man. Hoo-wee. But if you have reached that upper echelon of horror and you really want to push those buttons within you, that's the one to get. That's the one to read, in my opinion. This is all my opinion and my experience, people. So that is my top 10 most horrific reads I read in 2022. I hope that maybe you'll experiment and try something. I'm sure some of you out there, since you follow my channel, may have read all of these. If you've read any of these books, comment down below and let me know which was your fave and which was your, most cringeworthy. I'd be interested to find out. All right, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself so you can take care of others. And I will see you in my next video, whether that be sooner or later. So until next time, everyone, goodbye for now.